All of you copied this? All of you copied the diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So copy this also. This one also you copy. Whichever you feel comfortable, you take it. Okay. This also you can copy. Is it visible? Here parallel I am going to explain. Here this is entire thing is CPU. Okay. Like the previous diagram, the CPU totally consists of the ALU and control unit. In addition to ALU and control unit, the CPU has some inbuilt registers. They are MAR, MDR, program counter. MAR means memory address register, memory data register, program counter, and instruction pointer, and the registers, that is R0 to Rn. Okay. Now, in this set of registers, we are using the first one is as accumulator, that is R0, or generally we call it as A in most of the cases. But in some of the processors, they are using it as R0 only, which is the first one is used as accumulator. In addition to this, there are some other registers that I will show in the next slide. Okay. Basically, the general registers which are used in all the processors are these things. Okay. Without program counter, there is no processor at all. Sometimes it may call it as instruction pointer. In some of the, like in 8086, we call this as instruction pointer. In Intel processors, after 8086, the PC is okay interpreted. The
Sir,
PC
ఎలా ఉంట చేయండి.
Yes. Program counter is called as instruction pointer in some of the processors like Intel 8086 onwards. Okay. But majority of the processors we call it as it is program counter. Okay. Then instruction pointer. What is the purpose of instruction pointer? Anyone of you can respond? What is the purpose of instruction pointer? What is the purpose of instruction pointer? For what purpose it is used? What is the purpose of program counter and what is the purpose of instruction register? Any one of you? Okay.
Yes.
Any answers? Program counter is a register which stores the address of the next instruction to be executed. All of you note down this point. Program counter is a register, is a CPU register. PC, program counter, is a CPU register which stores the address of the next instruction to be executed. Okay. So whatever the instruction which are going to be executed next, that address is to be stored in program counter. So always PC points, program counter points the address of the next instruction to be executed. That is the purpose of program counter. Okay. It stores the address of the next instruction to be executed. That means, so what are the instructions you are going to execute? Okay. Next, that is after the present instruction that is available in program counter. Next one is instruction register. Instruction register stores, okay, once you pointed whatever the address is there in PC, okay, you take that address and get the instruction from memory and store it in IR. All of you listen carefully. The program counter contains the address of the next instruction to be executed. Okay. So by using the program counter, whatever the address is stored in PC, that is program counter. Okay. From that address, the instruction is to be fetched and stored in instruction register. That is the purpose of instruction register. Instruction register contains the instruction which is to be executed currently. Okay. IR contains the instruction which is to be executing currently, that is stored in IR. Okay. So how it is to be executed? That is by using control unit and ALU. ALU is only arithmetic block. Okay. So doing all these things will be controlled by control unit. Okay. Then MAR, MDR, these two are related to the memory interface. Memory is outside the CPU, which is not inside the CPU. Okay. The main memory is outside the CPU, which is not inside. Okay. To get the data from memory, okay, and to send the data to memory, we are using MAR and MDR. MDR holds the value and MAR holds the address of the main memory, okay, to which we are interacting. To which means to which location you are going to interact. Okay. This MAR holds the address of main memory, okay, to which you are accessing. To which means to which location I am talking about. Okay. Similarly, the MDR holds that value. Value means data. Whereas this is address, it holds the MDR holds the data, MAR holds the address of main memory. Okay. Whenever we are going to accessing the main memory. I think you are familiar with ALU and CU. Okay. That we will deal it later in detail. Okay. In next chapters. Okay. The same thing will be represented in different way with another diagram. Okay. Here they are calling it as, instead of MDR, they are calling it as MPR. Okay. This is also okay. Different processors follow different notations. Different processors follow different notations. Okay. One processor follow MDR, memory data register. Some other register follow memory buffer register. Both are same. Okay. Whereas MAR both followed the same notation. MAR, memory address register. Okay. Here, this is program counter. This is instruction register. This is program status word. This is one more register. Okay. Okay. So it is there. All the CPUs will have the program status word. All the CPUs should have the program status register. Okay. That is called flag register. Another name is flag register. Some processors they call it as flag, FLAG, flag register. In some of the processors, they are denoted as program status word. Program status word. That means it stores the status of the program. Status of the program means if you add the numbers, okay, whether you got the carry or not, that status will be stored here. Whether the result is 0 or not, that is also stored in this register. If there is a overflow, that is also stored in this register. Okay. That is also stored in this register. All of you got it? Yesterday I told to you, flag register, that is same as program status word. In some of the processors they called as program status word. In some of the processors they call it as flag register. Okay. All these are the general purposes. So that is R0 to Rn. Okay. This is both are same. This diagram and this diagram both are same. Okay, but only to understand. Okay, I quoted those two. Then we will go in detail about the architecture of a particular processor. This is the CPU register list for 8086. This is for CPU registers of 8086 processor. 8086 processor. So all the processors may not have the same set of registers. Each processor means if you take any processor, even the same manufacturer also, each processor have its own set of registers. Okay, but the common registers, what I told earlier, the common registers are program counter is common. Similarly, stack pointer is common. Similarly, instruction register is common. Similarly, program status word is common. Okay, memory address register is common. Memory data register is common. Okay, these 6 registers are mostly common in all the registers. Okay, and temporary registers. Okay, in some of the registers they are simply write it as R0 to Rn. In some of the registers they may name it as A, B, C, D, like that. Okay, that depends upon their comfort, that depends upon the design or nomenclature. Here, this is the 8086 processor CPU registers. Okay, you see this. Okay, is it visible to all of you? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Here there is AX. AX is a 16-bit register. This is a specific register set related to 8086 processor. This is only an example. AX is the register which is a 16-bit register. Again, it is divided into AH and AL. AH means higher byte, AL means lower byte. Similarly, BX register is again a 16-bit register. 16-bit means 2 byte. So here it is divided into higher byte and lower byte. Byte means how many bits? Byte means how many bits? Respond please.
8, sir.
8 bits. Okay. 16 bit means word. Here AX, BX, CX, D. AX, BX, CX, DX, all these are 16-bit registers. Okay. Again, these two are divided into byte registers. AL and AH, BH and BL, CH and CL, DH and DL. That means you can do either 16-bit operation or 8-bit operation also with these registers. Okay. These are the general purpose registers in 8086 processor. Okay. Because we are going to learn this in future course. 8086 you will have a separate subject. Okay. Microprocessor subject is there for you. In that you will learn all these things in detail. Then when you come to the specific purpose of registers, already here in 8086 there is a segmentation concept. Segmentation means the memory, the main memory is divided into segments. Segments means parts. Segmentation means dividing into parts is called segmentation. Okay. The main memory is divided into parts. Those parts are code segment. Code segment is meant for store the code. Okay. Similarly, stack segment. Okay. What do you mean by stack? Respond please. Where it is? Where the stack is available, how to use it? Where is the stack? What do you mean by a stack? What do you mean by a stack? STAC. Okay. Do you know it or not? If you don't know, please simply say no. I will explain, no problem.
Which stores the data?
Which stores the, all are using store, all these registers are using to store the data only. What about stack? Purpose of stack and where it is, where that stack is available to you. Either the stack is inside the processor or outside the processor. First of all, stack is inside the processor or outside the processor?
Inside the processor.
No, stack is outside the processor, not inside. Okay.
Okay, sir.
The processor inside, there are registers related to stack. That is, stack pointer is a register. That register is there in CPU. Stack pointer is a 16-bit register which is available in CPU. It is only register, not the stack. Okay. Similarly, stack segment here. Stack segment is another SS, stack segment register. That is another register. These two are available in CPU but not the stack. Always the stack is available in main memory. Okay. In the main memory, there is a lot of memory. Okay. In the total memory, okay, you are going to reserve some part of memory as stack purpose by using your SS register and SP register. SS is the base address of stack segment. Okay. SS stores the base address, means starting address of the stack segment. Stack segment means the memory is divided into different portions or different parts. Okay. Some part is used for stack purpose. Okay. That stack starting address is stored in stack segment register. Okay. But the actual stack is available in main memory. Okay. Some part of main memory is allocated for stack purpose. Okay. How some part of main memory is allocated for the stack purpose? By using your here SS register, which gives the base address and stack pointer. Okay. What the stack pointer contains? The stack pointer contains, okay, okay, the address of the top of the stack. Okay. Always the stack pointer points the top of the stack. Top of the stack means there are so many address memory locations allocated for stack. Okay. In that, always it points to the top of the stack. Always it points to the top of the stack. That is called stack pointer. Okay. In another terminology, we call it SP is used for initialization of stack. Stack pointer is used to initialize the stack. To initialize means, okay, what is the property of stack? What is the property of stack? What is the
Last in, first out.
Last in, first out. That means property means how the data is to be entered and how the data is to be retrieved. That is called property. Okay. The property of stack is last in, first out. Okay. Whatever is entered into stack last, that is to be come out first. Last, okay, last in, first out. That is, whatever the data you placed recently, the data is to be retrieved first. Okay. Last, whatever the data is you placed recently or last, okay, that is to be retrieved first. That is last in, first out, LIFO. Okay. Okay. To retrieve the data or to place the data onto the stack, we are going to use the stack pointer. Before placing the data onto the stack, first it has to be pointed by the stack pointer, then only you move the data or you move the data or whatever onto the stack. Similarly, If you want to retrieve the data from stack, first the stack pointer has to point that location, then it has to be copied or retrieved. Okay, like it should be like your MAR register. Understand? All of you understand the purpose of MAR register, memory address register?
Yes, sir.
So this is similar to that, but this is only limited for stack, not for the entire memory. This stack pointer is limited only for stack portion, not for the entire memory. All are on your videos. Participants. I think all of you, I think no one has turned your video, turn on. All of you turn on your video so that I can able to understand your whether you are able to understood or not. So all of you switch on your videos. Here the stack pointer functionality is similar to your MAR functionality, memory addresses functionality, but stack pointer functionality is limited to only to stack portion. I think many are not still. All of you make your video on. All of you make your video on. Please do it fast. Huh? Santosh? 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 Santosh Reddy?
లేరు అనుకుంటా.
All of you must switch on your videos. It is a must. Otherwise, we cannot know who is listening or who is simply. It is a must for all of you. Otherwise, we will keep absent. If your video is not on, we will mark them as absent. Hello? Leva? Yeah? ఉండు క్లాస్లో ఉంటే నీకు అటెండెన్స్ తెలుస్తుంది, వాళ్ళు అబ్జర్వ్ చేయాలి కదా వాళ్ళు. హలో, still majority are not. Can I call by name individually? Nagendra? Okay. Here, okay. I think, are you comfortable with now stack pointer, all of you? Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable with stack pointer now? Stack pointer register?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, there are 4 segments in this: code segment, stack segment, then data segment and extra segment. DS is for data segment register. Okay, data segment register which stores the base address of data segment. ES is extra segment register which stores the address of the extra segment register. Okay, there are 4 segments in 8086: code segment, stack segment, okay, data segment and extra segment. Code segment is used to store the code. Code means program. Stack segment is used to store the temporary variables, that is stack purpose. And data segment is used to store the data. Okay, data is different from code. Code means program, data means values. ES, extra segment, which can be used for to store the above three purposes. Any purpose you can use it. Okay, that is extra segment. Okay, in addition to these four base registers, code segment based register, stack segment based register, data segment based register, and extra segment based register, there are some more registers here. SP already explained. SP means stack pointer. Then BP. BP is base pointer. BP is base pointer, which is used to store the indexing for index addressing mode. That is base index. Okay, base pointer, which is used for indexing purpose, or base. Okay, it gives the base address of for index purpose. Okay, that is base pointer. Similarly, SI and DI. SI means source index, and DI is also destination index. Source index and destination index. These two are index registers, SI and DI. I think you are familiar with arrays in C. Okay, A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3. Okay, like that. A of n. Okay, all integers are stored in A0 to AN, for example. Similarly, that will be represented in assembly language by using this index registers, SI and DI. That is pointing to arrays. That is source index and destination index. Similarly, source array and destination array. If there are two arrays, source array and destination array, one point is used, SI is used for source array, DI is used for destination array. Okay, these two are the index pointers. SI and DI are used as index pointers. BP is base pointer. Okay, these three, BP, SI and DI, these three registers are used. Okay, in the case of index addressing mode, that we will read it later. Okay, the purpose of explaining all these things is that, okay, to understand the index addressing mode, you should know, or you should be comfortable with all the register set. Then only, yes, tell me.
సంతోష్ సార్ని ఎలా అంటే చేయమంటున్నారు సార్?
Okay. Hello. Okay. Yes. Hello. Still some are again switch off their videos. Why are it is a must for all of you. Here, okay, I think are you comfortable with all the register set now? Are you comfortable with all the register set? Okay, are you comfortable with all the register set?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. In addition to this, here there is, here you see this, there is a register called here overflow, direction, interrupt, trace, sign, 0, okay, auxiliary carry, parity, carry. Okay, this is the program status word or flag register. That means which contain each carry, one bit related to carry, one bit related to parity, so on. So this is another important register which is available in all the registers, which is available in all the processors is flag register or program status word. Okay, these are the register set. Okay, this is what is the purpose of this flag register or program status word register. What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of flag register or program status word? Okay.
Controls the program.
Yes, for controlling the program or to transfer the control from one location to another location, we are going to use this. This is conditional instructions. Okay, wherever you are going to use conditional instructions, while is a conditional instruction, while a greater than b. Okay, for all those conditions. Okay, for all the conditions, we are going to use this program status word or flag register. Okay, this register is to be accessed whenever you are going to use a conditional statement, whether it may be while statement, or whether it may be for statement, or whether it may be if statement, or it may be switch statement. Any statement, any conditional statement, if you are going to use in the program, okay, that requires to access this register, okay, for executing that condition. Okay, this is the program status word which plays the major role in the programming. Okay, I think these are the three different versions of CPU registers. I think, is it clear to all of you now? Are any doubts in these three?
Yes.
Is it comfortable to all? Or if I have any doubt, I will explain once again. Are you comfortable? Yes or
Yes, sir.
no?
Sir.
Okay, right. Then I will come back to the addressing modes. Do you have any doubts in yesterday's class?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Can I ask the questions? Can I ask the questions? How many operands are there in implicit addressing mode instruction? How many operands are there in
Zero.
Zero.
Operands.
Zero
Zero, sir.
operands. Yes. Okay. Implicit addressing mode instruction will have zero operands. Okay. That is called zero addressing instructions. Okay. Next, in immediate addressing mode instructions, how many operands will be there?
One.
Okay. Either it may be one or two. Okay. The number of
Yeah.
operands may be either one operand or
One.
two operands. Okay. That operand will be, what is that operand? In immediate addressing mode, what is that operand?
Destination of
Okay. Anyway, there is a source and destination. In all, whenever there is an operand, there is a source operand or destination operand. Okay. Sometimes the accumulator is a default one. Okay. Sometimes the accumulator will be a default register. Okay. In that case, we need not mention the operand in the instruction. In immediate addressing mode, you may have either one operand or two operands. Okay. That operand will be immediate operand. Immediate operand means the direct data. Okay. The direct data. This one. Move to 000, R0. Sometimes if it is with accumulator, directly you can add, okay, hash 2000 to 000. That means 2000 will be added to accumulator. That is another example. Okay, where you need not mention a. Add means always it is with accumulator. Add hash 2000. This means that 2000 is added to accumulator and the result is stored in accumulator. Okay, this is one address instruction, whereas this is two address instruction. There are two operands because it is a two address instruction. Move hash 2000, R0, R0 is two address instruction, whereas this is one address instruction. Okay, both are comes under immediate addressing mode. Okay, whereas here 2000 is moved to R0. That is R0. This is stored in R0. This value, 2000 is stored in R0, whereas here 2000 is added to accumulator. That is the only difference. Here accumulator is the default operand. Okay, here I used only one, whereas here I used two. In both the cases, there is an operand that is called immediate operand. Okay, the operand is given explicitly in the instruction. Here, what is the operand given explicitly in the instruction? It is 2000 hash 2000. Okay, here we are using hash symbol for representing the data. This is immediate addressing mode. Then the next one is register addressing mode. Register means we are going to use the operands as registers. We are going to use the operand as registers. Okay. Here also again, there may be two operands or one operand. Suppose add R1 means add R1 to A and the result is stored in A. Okay. Move R1, comma A here. So it may be the registers are register operands here. Okay. Is clear? Then absolute or direct addressing mode. Okay. These four are very easy. And compared to the remaining things, these four are very easy. These four are important. Okay. Here in this case, what you are going to use? You are going to use the memory. In the first three cases, we have not used any memory. We have used only the immediate data and the registers, CPU registers only in the first three cases. In implicit, in immediate, and in register, we are going to use only registers. In immediate, you can use memory also. There is possibility of memory also. Memory, one of the operand may be memory. If you want to directly move the data, okay, which is given directly to memory, then also you can use memory operand. But the important one is here, the one operand must be a immediate operand, that is explicitly written in the instruction. That is the meaning of it. The another one may be either register or it may be a memory. It may be a memory address, anything. Okay. Then here register. So here the operands are registers. Then the one, this is absolute addressing mode. Okay. Here you are going to use the addresses. Move 2000. Is it data or address? 2000 is address or data here? 2000 is the address or data here? Respond please.
Data, sir.
2000 here. Move 2000, R0.
Immediate address.
It is the address, not immediate address. It is the address, not immediate. It is the address. Okay. Immediate is only data. Immediate is used only for data, not for address. Immediate is used only for data, not for address. So this 2000 is the address and R0 is the register. That means move 2000. Sorry, move 2000, R0 means, what is the meaning of it? Whatever the data is available in the location or in the memory address 2000, okay, that is move to R0. That is the meaning of this. Okay. Because of yesterday, I don't have the diagrams, so I think it is only explanation. Now today I made some diagrams, so it will be easy for you to understand. Okay. This is yesterday's class. Now today I will start with indirect addressing mode. Okay. Indirect, what is the meaning of direct or indirect? Okay, in general terms. I will give an example. I will I will call by some number, okay, some suppose 18423, okay, 18HU 1A0423. I will call by name 18HU 1A0423. That is called direct address. That means I am calling by the direct address of an object or data. Suppose some person is some data, I am calling the data directly through an address. Okay, understand? That is
Yes,
called
sir.
direct address. Okay, indirect address means, okay, suppose I call the same person, okay, through your HOD. I call the same person through your HOD, then it is called indirect. Suppose I call by a number of a specific student, it is called direct addressing. If I call a specific student by through your HOD, okay, through your department. Suppose I did not mention, okay, I will ask in different way. Third year, roll number 423. Third year, roll number 423. Okay, I will ask your HOD. Okay, send the student bearing roll number 423 in third year. That is indirect address. That means where the operand address is available at HOD. That is called indirect. Okay. Here again in indirect there are two modes. Here all of you note down this. All of you note down this sentence. The effective address, whatever I have highlighted, all of you note down that sentence. The effective address of the operand, all of you note down. All of you note down. The effective address of the operand is the contents of a register or memory location whose address appears in the instruction. All of you note down that sentence. The effective address of the operand is the contents of a register or memory location whose address appears in the instruction. At a later stage, I will explain you about what is effective address. Okay. If you are not familiar with effective address, I will explain to you later. Okay. While dealing with the index addressing mode. Here, in this, you observe that register or memory location. See here, register or memory location. So you can use a register for indirect addressing purpose, or you can use a memory location for indirect addressing purpose. Okay, you can use either register or memory location for indirect addressing. Okay, if you use register for indirect addressing purpose, we call it as register indirect addressing mode. Register indirect addressing mode. If you use register for indirecting, if you use register for indirecting address, okay, that is called register. That is called register indirect addressing mode. If you use the memory location, for indirecting the address, that is called memory indirect addressing mode. That is called memory indirect addressing mode. Here in indirect addressing mode, there are two types. In indirect addressing mode, there are two types. One is register indirect, another one is memory indirect. One is register indirect, another one is memory indirect. Again, many are switch off their videos. Okay. How many times I need to tell to you? Huh?
Everyone switch on the video.
Okay. Santosh,
Sir.
if anybody did not switch on the video, simply put them absent.
Okay, sir.
If they have any problem, they can call and they can switch off personally. If anybody have any problem, personally they will take the permission and they can switch it off, no problem. But others
Yes, sir.
has to do it. Okay. Here, if you use the register, we call it as register indirect. If you use the memory location, okay, we call it as memory indirect addressing mode. Then, when you are going to use register indirect, when you are going to use memory indirect, okay. If you use the CPU register to store the address of the operand, okay, we call it as register indirect addressing mode. This is generally used in many processors. Okay. In your book, they simply told that indirect addressing mode. Indirect addressing mode means what it is? Is it register indirect or memory indirect by default? By default, if I ask indirect addressing mode, what do you mean that? Is it register addressing mode? Sorry, register indirect or memory indirect? If I don't say anything about specific, if I simply indirect addressing mode means that is register indirect. Indirect addressing mode, okay. Register indirect addressing mode is called as indirect addressing mode by default, okay. But if you specifically mention memory indirect addressing mode, then okay, that will be the part of indirect addressing mode, but you have to mention specifically for this. But for register indirect addressing mode, you need not mention register separately. Why? Because by default, register indirect addressing mode is indirect addressing mode. I will explain the reason also why we're calling like that. Okay. Why? Because many of the processors used only register indirect addressing mode. Many of the processors, okay, many of the processors, not some, many of the processors, around 90% or more than around 90% of the processors or more than 90% of the processors use only the register indirect addressing mode. They will not use the memory indirect addressing mode. Why? Because in the case of memory indirect addressing mode, okay, for accessing the data, we require two memory references, which takes long time. Okay, which takes long time for getting the data, for retrieving the data. So, memory indirect addressing mode is not used in most of the processors. Okay, only register indirect addressing mode is used in majority of the processors, almost all. Okay, is it clear? Then here you see another one is memory indirect addressing mode. Okay, why this is not used? I have given the reason. If we use memory to store the address of the operand, we call it as memory indirect addressing mode. This is generally not used in any processors because such instructions require more execution time. More execution time means more instruction cycle. That means the instruction cycle is nothing but, the meaning of instruction cycle is the time to execute an instruction. The time required to execute an instruction is called instruction cycle. Instruction cycle means the time required to execute an instruction is called instruction cycle. Okay. So the instruction cycle time is more because of, for accessing the data, it requires 2 memory references. Okay. Because of the reason, memory indirect addressing modes is not used by any of the processors. So very few processors may use it, okay, only for a specific purpose. That is very few. That is only nominal. So majority of the processors use only a register indirect addressing mode. Thus, by default, register indirect addressing mode is treated as indirect addressing mode. Any doubt till this step? Any doubt?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Next, I will explain with the diagrams now, so you will understand better. Okay. Here, this is the diagram. Okay. All of you note down this diagram. Diagrams, you need to be very specific. Okay. All of you note down this diagram. This R5 is the register file, CPU register file. This is main memory. This is registers. This is main memory. This is register, CPU registers. All of you note down this diagram. I'll share the PPT also, no problem, but you write it. Why? Because if I explain, if you note down this diagram, then it will be easy to understand you the explanation. Okay, over? Is it over or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here, is it visible to all of you? Or can I make it larger? Is it visible or?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Here, all of you see here. This is the main memory. This is the main memory. This is the CPU registers. In the main memory, there are so many locations. Okay. All these locations, I think already I told that the main memory is nothing but a decoder. The main memory is nothing but a decoder. Here all the addresses are there from 0 to 2 power n. Okay, where n is the number of address lines of the processor. Here this load R2 comma within the brackets R5. Load R2 comma within the brackets R5. So this is an example of a register indirect addressing mode instruction. Where the instructions are stored, the instructions are always stored. The instructions are always stored in the main memory. Okay. So how do you get this instruction? To get, first you get this instruction into the CPU. First, the program counter has to point this address. Then this instruction has to be stored in IR, then it will be executed. Okay, that is the process. Here in this case, I will come to the addressing point of view. Here R2 is a register, R5 is another register, but there is a parenthesis. There is a parenthesis means, so the actual operand is not available in R5. The operand is not available in R5. This R5 contains the address of the operand. That is the meaning of brackets. That is the meaning of brackets. That is called indirection. Okay. This R5 contains the address of the operand. So what is R5 here? R5 is the register, CPU register, which contains B here. What is B? B is the address where the operand is available. This B is the address where the operand is available. Is it clear? Load R2 comma R5 means the value which is there, okay, the value which is there in R2, okay, R2 contains some value. Suppose R2 contains 20, for example. R2 contains 20, for example. Load R2 comma R5 within the brackets means, here I will, you take one more register here, okay. R2 also you can take it here, R2. Then here in that you write 20. That means R2 register contains the value 20. R2 contains the value 20, for example. Have you added that? All of you? Have you added that? R2. R2 with 20. Instead of, similarly, you copy the same thing bottom or top. With R2, instead of B, you write 20. That means load the value of R2 into this address. So what is this? R5 contains B, then where B again, which contains the operand. That means 20 is loaded here. If R2 contains 20, that 20 is to be loaded in this address. That address is B. Where that address is available? That address is available in R5. Is it understood to all of you or not? Otherwise, is it clear? Is it understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Here have you drawn the R2 also? R2. If R2 will have the value of 510, then what will be this here? What is this value? What is this value here? If R2 is a register which has a value of 510, then what is the value here?
Same.
What is the value? Tell me. 510. Say, whatever is there in R2, that will be here. That will be here.
Yeah.
Okay. That is called load R2 comma within the brackets R5. That is, this is indirect address. Okay. This is indirect addressing mode, brackets. So here for indirection, which is used, are going to use register or memory here. We have used register or memory for indirection here. We have used register or memory for indirection. Respond, please.
Register, sir.
Yes, we are using register for indirection. Thus, this is called register indirect addressing mode. Okay. So whatever the value is there in R2, that value will be here in the address B. Okay. In the address B. How this B comes? B comes through indirection from R5. Okay. Any more explanation is required for this?
No, sir.
Okay. Any one of you can explain to me now? Register indirect addressing mode. Any one of you? Any one of you can explain? Any one of you can explain? If you understood, I think it is easy to explain. Are you able to do or not? No.
Sir.
Tell me. Tell me that. Explain this.
Diagram, sir. Circuit diagram. Diagram.
Yes, this diagram you explain it.
In main memory, we have the value of R2 and R5. We have written that load R2 in comma R5. That means we have to load the value in R2 to load it to the R5. If we have a value 20 in R2, that should be loaded to R5. Then if you see R5 value in your right side, understand that is B. That means the value of R2, which is 20, is stored in R5. That means the B value will be 20. As R2 is 20, that is stored in B. That means the B operand value will be 20.
I will repeat once again. I think there may be some confusion. Here load R2, R5. R5 will have the parenthesis. Okay. Parenthesis means which will have the memory. Here within the parenthesis R5 means R5 will have the address of the operand. Address of the operand. Okay. This R5 contains B. R5 contains the address B. Then this B is the location where we need to store the operand. Suppose R2 is 100. That 100, suppose R2 is a register which contains 100. That 100 is stored in the address B. Okay, not in R5. So how you know that it is to be stored in B? By using the indirection of R5, because R5 contains the address B. Okay, that in that location you need to store it. That is called indirection. That is indirect addressing mode by using the register indirection. That is it. Next, another one is, this is another way. Okay, this is one way of representation. Okay, another way of representation is same thing, same. Okay, with different diagrams. The concept is same, but with different diagrams. Here you see this. I think you will get more understanding here. This is the opcode followed by operand 1 and operand 2. Operand 1 is a register operand. Operand 2 is also a register operand, but here the register is used for indirection. Here the register is used for indirection. See here, R3. This is processor register set or processor registers. This is CPU memory or main memory. Okay. R3. Here R3 contains how much? What is the value in R3? 200. The value in R3 register is 200. Then this here is operand 2. Here what is the opcode? What is the instruction here? Instruction, what is the instruction here? Opcode means instruction. It is load instruction. Okay. The value in R3, that is 200, is to be loaded into the address, okay, which is stored in R2. Okay. What R2? R2 contains the address A. R2 CPU register contains the, what is the R2 contains, what is the value here? What R2 contains? This is a value, but actually it is a address. Okay, this is A. Okay, this is A. This is A. This is A. This 200 is to be stored in the address, okay, which is stored in the register R2. Now, is it clear when compared to the previous one? Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
Here you see this. What R2 contains? R2 contains the address of the operand. R2 contains the address of the operand. What is that address? A. So in A, operand is there. What is that operand? 200. Okay, that means load the value in R3 into, okay, the address, okay, into the address which is stored in R2. Is it clear? This is register indirect addressing mode. Any doubt in this? I think the second one will be better than the first one. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Same, no? I think it is also same. Then, now are you comfortable with indirect now? Are you comfortable with indirect? Are you comfortable with indirect addressing mode? Okay. So I think you are comfortable with indirect addressing mode, that is register indirect addressing mode. Now I will explain the memory indirect addressing mode. Okay. So before explaining that memory indirect, because you are comfortable with direct addressing mode, first I will compare those two, or I will connect those two, direct addressing mode and memory indirect. Okay. At a later stage, I will give the separate diagram. Here you will get more explanation when compared to this. Is it visible, or can I? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you see here. This is the first one is direct addressing mode. The second one is memory indirect. In the case of add 457, that is the instruction. Add 457. Add 457 is the instruction which is stored in memory location somewhere in the memory, where it may be, it doesn't matter where it is stored. Okay, some of the memory location, okay, some instruction is stored. That instruction is add 457. Add 457 means, okay, add 457 means, already I have given earlier, add the accumulator content with the value available in address 457. Add 457 means, what type of instruction it is? Is it assembly instruction, or add 457 is an example of assembly instruction, assembly language instruction. Suppose you got a hash in the suppose you have a hash here. Add hash 457. What is the meaning of it? Add hash 457. So what is the meaning of it? Please respond. add hash 457. Add hash 457. Here, see here. What is the meaning of this? Add hash 457. Whereas here, what it is? Add 457. Add hash 457 means the accumulator value is added to the immediate data 457, then the result is stored. Suppose the accumulator have, suppose 3. 453 plus, suppose the accumulator will have 2. 45, add hash 457 means, okay, 457 is added to the accumulator value, whatever is there, then the result is stored in accumulator. Here add 457, it will have different meaning. Here 457 is the address. So add add the value which is stored in 457. This is 457 is the address. There the operand is available. This operand is to be added to accumulator. Then the result is stored in accumulator. Here all of you note down these diagrams. All of you note down these diagrams. Here, add 457, where this 457 is the address which contains the operand. This operand is to be added to accumulator, okay, and the result is again stored in accumulator. That is the meaning of this. Whereas in the case of indirect, this is memory indirect addressing mode. Here add again 300. Add 300. Add 300. Here 300. Hello. Class. Okay, close this. Okay, right. Okay. Tomorrow I will continue this. Okay, because of some other staff is waiting for class. Okay. Thank you one and all. Okay. Tomorrow we will meet.
Thank you, sir.